What will die with millennials? Watching whatever was on. Everything is always on now. You don't stumble into an interesting, or awful, show because it's the only thing mildly interesting on TV. I once tried to explain to my niece that phones used to be wired to walls. She's 10, she was 6 at the time. Cell phones are all she's ever known. Among the reasons she guessed as to why they were tied to walls, to stop people from stealing them. Knowledge of pre-digital life. An appreciation for sending and receiving letters in the mail. As Arcade Fire put it, we used to wait. Memory of the USA pre-9/11. Using maps and Thomas guides for road trips. Guys, I'm so old I remember the first time my dad used MapQuest to print out directions for a cross-country trip, and how novel it seemed at the time. Burials. Most people I hear from want to be cremated, plus do you know how fucking expensive dying is? Probably will have to pay rent on the plots by the time we all die too. FFS. Apparently using a Haynes or a Chilton's manual to work on your car. I hate using YouTube videos for car maintenance, but it looks like that's all I have left. As a boomer, I really thought the flower child would prevail. That we would bring in the age of Aquarius. Everyone would love each other as themselves. Wow, was I wrong? Time when internet was in the golden era. More genuine content, no clickbait, no hidden agenda, no fake news and hate speech. It was a better and smaller community. Hopefully virtue signaling one's believed moral superiority by getting offended as much as possible on behalf of groups you are not associated with. Using your thumb and pinky to pretend you're talking on the phone. Gen Z uses their whole palm like a smartphone. I really hope bullying in schools ends with us. I've noticed that kids are way more tolerant and accepting than we were. It's not cool to make fun of other kids, it just makes you look like an asshole. And conversely, it is cool to accept people who are different than you and find ways to help other students who need it. I hope that keeps being a thing. Apparently the guest room. Social mobility. High-paying positions are starting to become a matter of birthright and nepotism. As closed off as high nobility was in the Middle Ages. The only chance anyone not born into wealth will have is becoming a viral internet content maker, basically a jester, or a fine artist, if RE doesn't completely take that over. I could totally see future where art pieces are named by software. Oh, you like this? It's a dolly. Vertical Instagram shots of whatever shite they are eating and for some reason want everyone else to know that they are eating. Sadly, this has nowadays been replaced by a TikTok of the poor, visibly overworked chef turning your steak into a 5-minute pyrotechnic display just for a small tip, whilst everyone else waits endlessly for their food to be cooked. You have to die and grieve in a way that benefits the economy. Spend $9K on a funeral. Some boomer, probably. The concept of being bullied in school and having it just stay in school as opposed to being immortalized on the internet for millions of total strangers to see and comment on. Buying weed from strangers. These days the kids get weed from their friend's big brother who goes to the dispensary. We met some weird guys and followed them to their houses. They always had fire. Every week, the weed was more fire than the last. We didn't know if it was indica/stativa or what the THC contents were. It was often shake or popcorn buds. But I really loved the brick weed. AKA the parents of millennials are starting to pass away, but we can't afford to pay for a decent burial or a lovely casket because greedy businesses have monopolized the death industry, which preys on helpless, sad individuals. The 80s and 90s. Culture, music, everything. I know Gen Z is rediscovering some of it while claiming no one has ever seen, heard or done it before, but it will all be ruined in no time. The hustle culture. Having 2 jobs to make ends meet or working and studying at the same time. We never asked for living wages or lower tuitions or free healthcare or better public transportation as hard as Gen Z's. I'm happy Gen Z has realized this system is rigged for the rich and the corporations. Waiting to watch the anime block once a week on Friday nights, taking 4 years to finish a 100+ EP series.